Welcome to GameFellas, the retro to modern gaming podcast, episode uno. Let me introduce everyone, starting with Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Mark's from Idaho, just FYI. Then we have, we got Justin, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today, but he'll be on a later episode. But then we have Nate, our producer, who is off camera.
What's up, guys? I will be providing links in the background.
Yes, and fact-checking and all that good stuff. Nate is from the Florida Panhandle in BFE, as we call it. Next is Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
Tony Brasel the gamer,
Yep.
from Collinsville, Illinois.
Come to my house and steal my stuff.
Yeah, the ketchup bottle capital of the world.
Yep.
Next we have Derik Moore.
How's it going, guys?
Derek's from BFE, Missouri.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And Sorren Day, correct? D-A-Y, Sorren Day,
Yeah.
from the UK.
Hello.
Whereabouts the UK you from again, Sorren?
It's easier to say London.
Okay, London, close enough. And I'm Zack, the host, or at least trying to be the host this first time. I'm from South Florida, Jensen Beach. We'll be hosting this on my channel, which is the SHMUP Master channel for the time being, because we figured it just makes sense to do it that way for now. The way this is going to work is we are going to have a little round table where we all go around and talk about what games we've been playing lately. And then from there, we will have a discussion section. And the topic of this first podcast is basically going to be the best and worst examples of retro game franchises that are still around today. So first, we will start with what we've been playing. So, Mark, why don't you take it away and tell us what you've been playing lately?
Sure. So you guys might know me from all the SHMUP podcasts and stuff I do. So naturally, I've been playing a crap load of shooting games. I'm actually in a tournament right now, so I'm trying to really brush up on some of the SHMUPs I've played in the past, Dodonpachi and Gunbird and stuff. As far as modern games have gone, I've kind of been MIA on modern games for the past few months. The last one I played was Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. That's one of my favorites.
And this is coming from the youngest guy of us in his 20s, and he's not playing modern stuff. Gotta love it.
Darn millennials.
Repping the millennials on the podcast.
What else? So when you do play modern stuff, what do you normally play, Mark? Like, what's the last modern game you can think of that you've actually played?
The last one I played a bunch is Neo. Have you played that on the PS4? I like to play mostly action-style games or games that are pretty intensive as far as challenge and stuff. Fighting games, too. I'm huge into fighting games.
Okay.
I played a lot of Third Strike, but that's not a modern game either. So
You're also the only one of us, I think, that's like truly a competitive gamer, right? I think.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you talk about that a little bit and how I know you play Smash Brothers competitively and some other things. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I play Melee competitively, which may delight or anger some of the audience. It's usually a split between how people feel about it. But yeah, I play Melee competitively, go to tournaments and stuff in it. I'm not super competitive into it as far as, getting up on teams and all that stuff. But I play a shitload of matches online and go to tournaments and platinum ranked player. So
for people that don't know, how do you play Melee online? Because obviously you can't do it on the GameCube.
Yeah, you use the Dolphin emulator with a site called Anther's Ladder, and they work together actually really well. It's probably some of the best online fighting games you can play, really.
Okay.
Probably because it's outside dev rule restrictions. It's just whatever works.
Right. Yeah. And the Dolphin, I've messed around with the Dolphin emulator before, but I've heard, really
Amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. How far it's come.
Yeah. One of the best around.
Okay. That's cool. All right. Thank you, Mark. Why don't we move on to Tony. Take it away. What have you been playing lately besides Final Fantasy 14?
Mostly Final Fantasy. Actually, to the point where today I was just like, I just don't feel like playing it. If you don't know, Final Fantasy 14 is the second online massive multiplayer RPG for the Final Fantasy series. and I love it. I mean, I think it's probably one of the best love letters to the series that Square has come out with, which is really cool. A lot of cool throwbacks and stuff. On top of that, I play a lot of Stardew Valley on Switch. I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't really know why I'm still playing that one as well, because I've pretty much gotten all the achievements. I've done everything on that game, so kind of looking for, I guess something new to get sucked into, and that hasn't really happened yet. I'm looking forward to some other games. So
I have a question for you. Have you played Golf Story on Switch?
I
I
have
love
it.
that game so much.
That game might be right up your alley.
I've tried it. I think it's the golfing. I'm just not very good at it. So
Oh, I love the golfing part of it. So
I think it's cool. I'm just not good at it. So
It's just nice that I can golf on a game and do all right, but when I actually go and really golf, not so much.
That's good.
Hole in 20.
yeah. And recently I played through my entire NES collection just for the heck of it, and
Which is insane, but yeah, that's pretty awesome.
couple it's like a little over 100 games, so it's not like super. It wasn't super time consuming because I wasn't like playing every game for 10 to 30 minutes or even an hour. It was like if I played it for 5 minutes and I felt like I was good and I didn't want to play any more of it, I just put it up. Other games I got sucked in and played for like an hour or two, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. NES games, Stardew Valley, and Final Fantasy 14.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Tony. Who wants to go next? Why don't we get the guy with the nice, slick Southern accent, Derik? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Skinner's Revenge. Recently, I haven't played that much retro. I just built a gaming PC for the first time in like 20 years. So
Nice.
modern games, I've been playing a lot of No Man's Sky again because that's just a
have you?
fantastic game.
Nice.
Yeah, especially with mods. I just started The Surge on Xbox One because of Game Pass, and that's like Power Exoskeleton meets Bloodborne, which is pretty fun. Retro games, though, mostly like old PC first-person shooters lately. Deus Ex, the original Medal of Honor, and even a little bit of Brutal Doom mixed in with that. I'm weird that like I don't intentionally play retro, intentionally play modern. It's like, what do I want to play today? That's how I think about it. And
Yeah,
it
it's like
varies
whatever you're
really
in-
badly.
Whatever you're in the mood for, right? You just
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, you guys see my Discord, see how much I jump around.
yeah, all over the place. Yeah, that's how.
Have you played the original Unreal on PC?
Yes.
I love that one.
Oh, that's great. Only thing is, if you play it on a modern system, you need to use the unofficial patch.
Right.
And afterwards, it runs flawlessly. I mean, damn well better.
That's cool, man. Okay, all right. Thank you, Derik.
A quick question for you, Derik. Then, if you're somebody who's got back into No Man's Sky, what do you think about all the updates and patches they've been doing since release? Because that game got really heavily slated when it was released because people felt like they were lied to and it didn't have all the features they were promised. But I would say that the game has got to that point now. So, like, have you been finding that?
I bought it day one, and I've enjoyed it ever since. But I am a deep, deep fan of classic sci-fi, so it's right up my alley. And I wanted something I could just sit back and explore. And it wasn't as strong as they hyped, but I mean, what game that gets released is? So I wasn't too bothered by it, but the new additions they've done since release have just been nothing but amazing, and they've really made it the game that they said it was going to be, and I could not be happier with it. And honestly, most of the mods I have on there are just like quality of life or simple tweaks to make it a little bit easier to work with. Other than that, I couldn't complain about the game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I liked it when it came out anyway. Like, I wasn't on the hate bandwagon.
Same. Yeah, I same with Derik. I bought it day one, and I've played it extensively since then. I played it a lot last year after the next patch, and it's I probably played it another 100 hours, 150 hours or something. I mean, it's just great. And now I guess it's even better. I kind of took a break again, but I plan on going back to it again probably at some point this year. But it's...
Yeah, the new update is beyond the next one, That one's supposed
Yeah,
to
I
add
think-
a
I
lot
think
more
Beyond.
stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's I think the next update is called Beyond, and I think that's the one that is going to include a VR update so that you can play it in VR as well.
I'm actually looking very, very soon to get my computer set up with VR, so that would be amazing. And if that happens, I'll miss you all.
Yeah, that'd be a puke fest for me. But yeah, that's cool. If you can handle VR, that's great. I can't handle VR.
God gave us drama, man.
So yeah, I guess then I'd fall asleep with it on my head. I guess.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
It is No Man's Sky Beyond, just to toss that in there. For
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's what.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you. All right, Sorren. Since you're talking now, let's hear your your smooth, suave British accent. What have you been playing, man?
Yeah, I've been playing a few things. So I've been playing a little bit of modern, a little bit of retro. The modern stuff that I've been playing is actually Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. So I don't know, because Mark, you said you play a load of Melee, but do you play any of the new one as well?
A little bit against my will, because basically what happened is after Ultimate came out, all the new kids kind of hopped on Ultimate. So I was like, well, I got to play something with them. So I've been playing probably more than people would think because I'm a Melee player. But yeah, I've played quite a bit of Ultimate.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. No, I've really been enjoying it. I mean, I started at Melee. I didn't play, I think the only one before that was the N64 one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Melee. And yeah, I came in at Melee and played most of them through to Ultimate. Yeah, I think it's really good. I'm kind of excited to see who else they're going to add to the DLC, because they've still got 4 packs to announce. And I don't know if you guys have been following it, but the first DLC fighter they added was Joker from Persona 5, which is a solely PlayStation kind of franchise. So they're giving us the impression that whoever they're picking for these challenger packs they're not just going to be like other characters from the Mario world and things like that.
They need to include Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh,
Joker ended up being my
Or did you see
favorite.
the thing today where supposedly the Google algorithm revealed what the next 3 or 4 were going to be? Like, Doom Guy was one.
Doom Guy.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about that. My buddy
That's
is
cool.
a competitive Smash player as well, and he's been
Doc?
our friend Bug Doctor. He's been really hyped that he thinks that Doom Guy's coming. He's a big Doom.
Hey, Nate, can you check and make sure which 4 that was so I don't sound like an idiot more than normal?
I think I know if some of the rumors and things I've been hearing, I think it might be the same kind of info, because yeah, I've heard Doom Guy, I've heard Steve from Minecraft.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They've got a big crossover with Microsoft at the minute, so Microsoft would happily lend one of their biggest brand icons. What were some of the other ones? There was Doom Guy, Steve.
According to this article, it's Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie, Ryu from Ninja Gaiden, Doom
Oh, that would be sick.
from Doom, and Artorias from Dark Souls.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you, sir.
Wow.
That's really interesting.
Dark Souls, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Switch just got Dark Souls.
That's right, it did, man. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, there's some pretty good potential ones there. And the thing that is kind of confusing me, though, is when they first announced this DLC, they said that they'll obviously all release after the game releases, and they'll all be out by February 2020. But the time frame that we've got between now and then means that they'll have to announce one and pretty much release it straight away at E3
Yeah.
to get them all out in time. Whereas with Joker, they announced him at launch and then waited months to release him.
I think they'll do that, though. With E3, doesn't Nintendo like to announce something at E3 and then give it to you really quickly afterward?
A lot of times, yeah, they'll do something like that.
Yeah, sort of like Apple, the way Apple does things, too.
Yeah, didn't they do that with Breath of the Wild DLC or something?
Yeah.
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 And it would make sense for them to announce the full slate of all DLC fighters they're going to have and say, hey, we're releasing this guy this month, this guy next month, and so on and so on. But we'll see. Nintendo, it's a nice way to say this, They don't play by anyone else's rules but their own.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Not exactly that it's bad per se, but that's how they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at was it the last kind of big direct that they did, where they announced the whole Tetris Battle Royale game.
Oh yeah, and then they just it was out right then and there.
Yeah, there was no hype, there was nothing leading up to it. It was just like, oh, here's this game, and bam, you can get it now.
I've got to put my account on my brother's Switch because mine is slightly banned forever from online because I might have hacked it and pirated stuff on it. And I really want to play
Now,
Tetris
Derek,
99.
you shouldn't be admitting that on the air.
What are they going to do, ban me? Oops.
I'll ban you some more, right?
Actually, these Nintendo bans are way more severe than they've been in the past. Like, they don't just ban you; they ban your ass hard.
They do. They banned Derek. I mean, and I think it pissed me off more than him because I wanted to play. I wanted him to play, and then all of a sudden he couldn't, and it was like, man, seriously.
Well, it's funny to me that it's like, oh, we're going to ban you because you may be pirating, but then I'm not allowed to access the eShop. So, newsflash, I'm going to pirate more now, dumbass.
I know, like, it is strange that if you get banned, you can't even download stuff. Like, I understand cutting you out of online play, that makes sense, but
Absolutely.
yeah, they're basically, and it's not your account that's banned, it's your console. So they basically murder your console.
Yeah.
And so what else will you do but pirate? It's like, it's your only choice.
Exactly.
And Derek owned the Switch, paid for online, and owned a copy of the game, and it's like
I pre-ordered the Switch. I had a day
it's
one.
crazy, man. So yeah. Well, anyway,
Nintendo's going crazy right now with the copyright stuff, though.
Yeah.
Like, they're not playing.
Yeah,
That could be a whole episode, my man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a topic for another episode. Sorren, what else, man? What else you been playing other than Smash Brothers?
Well, other than Smash, the other stuff I've been playing, I was quite excited to see this. And again, it was something that happened with no real fanfare or any kind of rumors leading up to it or anything. But so, are you familiar with GOG.com?
Yep, good old games.
Good
Love
old
that
games.
side.
Brilliant site, and I have their GOG Galaxy app on my computer as well, and I'm always like looking for old games and going through and playing like some cool old stuff. And then out of nowhere, over the last like month or so, they suddenly released Diablo 1 and Warcraft 1 and 2.
Oh, nice.
On what?
On GOG.
That's interesting.
Cool.
So they've got
very
some sort of like things they're working with Blizzard, yeah.
Oh,
And
And then they did that. The new remaster of Blood came out like the day they announced, and I need to pick that up still.
Does Diablo work on like Windows 10?
Yeah, and the cool thing with the Diablo 1 version they've got on GOG is there's two versions you can play. So there's one which is kind of a little bit more optimized for like modern monitors and that, and then there's an original one which if you don't tinker with your own settings, it turns up in a little box about this.
I will buy that on payday tomorrow. I love Diablo.
But
The first Diablo?
First Diablo.
the first one's amazing, but it gets even better. That original resolution version that you can play is also still linked up to Battle.net, so you can play online.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is crazy, man. I didn't even... The last time I played the original Diablo was probably in the late 90s over modem with friends in high school, I think.
I didn't know Battle.net was in Diablo 1. I thought that was Diablo 2.
Wasn't. I don't think it was.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That was Diablo 2 that started all that. I thought StarCraft 2 and Diablo 2. That's interesting.
That's cool that it's in there. But
Yeah, very cool.
Now I'm really excited.
Did you guys play a lot of the old Blizzard games? I was a massive StarCraft dude. That was my favorite game growing up.
I played a lot of Warcraft 1 and 2 and Diablo 1 and 2. I didn't play a lot of StarCraft. I played StarCraft, but not as much as I did Warcraft and Diablo.
Yeah,
It's weird that I'm a huge RTS guy, but I've only played StarCraft on 64. I just could not get into it.
There was a StarCraft 64 on.
I have that. It is okay. Design-wise, it's clever, but actually playing it is awful. And this is coming from like a StarCraft super fan. I don't even play it, and I own it. It's so shitty.
It's a really cool thing that they were able to port it to the 64, and there's some clever things they did to make it work on the console. But that's the most praise I can really give it.
They should have went the Mario Paint route and included a mouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't there one released for the 64 in Japan with the DD?
There was one. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't make it stateside though.
Of course it didn't.
Yeah. Okay, well, anything else you want to add, Sorren, or is that about it?
No, yeah, that's pretty much everything that I've been doing. But yeah, just a good shout out to Good Old Games, because whatever they're doing, they're doing it well.
Yeah, and I just want to give them praise for being one of the largest online digital storefronts and has absolutely zero DRM.
DRM free. Yep, that is great.
I think SHMUP players should check that out, because SHMUP players use this itch.io or whatever. Like, yeah. But I think Good Old Games could be a good thing people should look into as well.
Yeah, for real. Okay, cool. All right, so I guess that leaves me. So I've been playing. I'm the opposite of Mark right now. I've been playing just modern stuff. I haven't touched any retro stuff in quite a while. So I've been playing. Me and my buddy Donald have been playing Divinity Original Sin 2 a couple times a week. We play a couple nights a week. It's the Divinity series started, I think, in 2002, I think, with Divine Divinity, and then there was like 3 or 4. I think there was Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, then Divinity 2, then Divinity Original Sin, which I also played, and then Divinity Original Sin 2 is the one I'm playing. So it's like the 5th game in the series, I guess.
Wow.
But these last two, they're expansive RPGs, and the last two were funded via Kickstarter, and surprisingly, turned out amazing. If I had to compare them to any other games, I would say they're a mix of like Baldur's Gate and maybe Ultima, some of the newer Ultima games, and even some of the newer Ultima games are like the early 90s. But the Ultima games, Ultima 7s particularly, they were, you could manipulate anything in the game. You could move items around, steal stuff, on just a really, really detailed level. Like you could walk into a house, grab a piece of bread or something, just move a lamp around, whatever. It's just crazy. So Divinity, at least with these two newer games, has done that, where it's a isometric viewpoint, and almost every item in the game you can manipulate or move around or put in your bag, whatever, which is really cool. But it adds the tactical combat of something like Baldur's Gate, or even it's kind of almost XCOM like the combat. It's pretty strategic, and it's super cool. Having a lot of fun with it. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe 50 hours into it or something. It's taken us forever because we're playing co-op, which is also awesome. They let you play co-op in an expansive RPG like this. So that's a lot of fun. I love my RPGs. I love big in-depth RPGs like that. So I'm enjoying Divinity Original Sin 2 quite a bit. And the other game I'm playing solo is Breath of the Wild, Zelda, obviously. I'm about 2 years late to this train, and I know some of the guys in this call here have been telling me to play it. Tony, for one, for a couple of years now. And it's at first I wasn't sold on it. Like the whole weapon breaking thing annoyed me. Weapons break really fast. But it took me about maybe 5 or 6 hours, and then it just kind of clicked. And it's probably one of the best games ever made, I think, honestly. The game world is so massive that I kind of get overwhelmed when I'm playing sometimes. And it doesn't really hold your hand. It doesn't lead you to where you need to go. It kind of just drops, subtle little hints that kind of send you on your way. But you get so distracted. It's kind of like No Man's Sky in that way, where you see something off in a distance and you can just go there. And anywhere you go, anywhere you see, you can go, And if you see something, on the horizon, like, I know there's a big volcano in the center of the map, and you can go to the volcano, or you can climb any mountain you see, and pretty much any mountain, any most trees you climb, I mean, there's almost always something you're going to find. You climb a tree, you find bird eggs, or a Kurok seed or an acorn or something you can use. You climb a mountain, you find something on these. You'll find a rusty sword stuck in the top of the mountain that you can take. It's really cool, man, and it's cool the way it kind of flipped the Zelda formula on its head, and basically eliminated dungeons. So there's no more dungeons except for mini temples that you go to, but they don't take more than maybe 10 minutes usually to figure out. And most of them are puzzle based. You solve a Zelda type puzzle. But yeah, I love it. I'm so glad that I got into it, and I could talk about it all day, honestly. But yeah, it's been great playing that, and those are basically the two games I've been engrossed in lately. I'll probably get the retro itch again at some point here pretty soon, but for now, yeah, it's been mostly modern stuff for me. So yeah,
honestly, I think it's for the best. Like, I don't like people like, oh, I'm just a retro gamer, I'm just a modern gamer. Just play games you like. Don't worry about what year they came out.
Yeah, I go on kicks, and I go on kicks, and right now I'm on a modern kick. I'm playing new stuff, but you say you look, oh, nice cat, Derik. If you look behind me, I've got a whole rack full of
I watched your cat earlier.
Yeah, NES games and stuff, and I'll be pulled to them, kind of like being pulled to an old friend, like, okay, what's this? What do I feel like playing? Like Tony just did, play through all his NES games, but yeah, it's been great. So, anyone else played Breath of the Wild at all? I know Tony has. Derik has.
A little too much.
Yeah.
Sorren has. What about you, Mark? You haven't played Breath of the Wild?
I have played it a little bit.
Okay, a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's a great game. I just haven't really sunk into it too much.
Yeah, understandable. I almost ended up that way, where I felt like I was going to bounce off it, but I stuck to it, and man, when you stick to it, it's really something else. I've never played a game like it. All right, cool. So I think that'll wrap up our little what we've been playing section. So let's take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the best and worst examples of retro game franchises that still exist today. All right, we're back, and we are here to talk about the best and worst examples of retro game franchises that are still alive today. So we're going to start with the worst, so we can end on a positive note later. So some game franchises survive a test of time, some don't. Some blossom into modern masterpieces, while others are hopelessly stuck in the past. What does it take to update an old franchise into something that appeals to both the original fans and new fans alike? Or in this case, what doesn't? Tony, why don't you lead us off and tell us?
Well, the most obvious example, and I'm not a huge fan of this series anyway, but Sonic the Hedgehog is a pretty obvious example. There have been a couple good games that have come out recently, but for the most part, the old games were great. They were really, really good. And then the games that have come out recently, not so much. You look at anything from Sonic 06 to Sonic Boom, I guess. Like, those were all critically panned. I have not played any of those, so I can't really comment on it too much. Another good example, I think, and we don't have to discuss this at great length either, would be the Mega Man series. The early the early Mega Man games were phenomenal. Everything up until like Mega Man X4 was really, really good. And then after that, it got worse and worse and worse, and the games, like the core series, just completely fell off until they made Mega Man 9, which was really good. Mega Man 10 wasn't as well received. The X games fell off. Mega Man X7 is notoriously awful.
And to clarify, Mega Man's 9 and 10 were the retro ones, right? They were made exactly
they were
like
they were the retro ones that were made for the Wii, PS3, and Xbox 360. Those were pretty good.
Yeah.
But it has come back pretty strong with Mega Man 11, but that's the only new Mega Man game we've seen since Mega Man 10 came out like 10 years ago. So, but yeah.
Don't you be hating on Mega Man 8, Brasel?
Mega Man 8. No.
Mega Man 8 is the worst Mega Man game, I think.
No, it's not.
Okay.
The worst Mega Man.
Well,
Mega Man 7's worse than 8.
The worst mainline Mega Man game.
Mega Man is it's in there. Trust me.
I mean, it's Tony debating Mega Man. We're just going to accept his reasoning.
Tony's the Mega Man expert here, so we can't really debate with him on this.
But I think Sonic's the good bad example.
Well, but in the case of Sonic, you could go all the way back to a lot of people say Sonic Adventure is where it fell off. Honestly, like some people think there hasn't been any good Sonic game since the Genesis days. Really, I mean, because there wasn't a Sonic game on Saturn, they didn't release one. So Adventure, I think was good, but I think it's aged poorly. At least from what I've seen lately. I haven't played it in quite a while, but yeah, I mean, Derik, you were mentioning a couple of the.
I feel bad saying that Sonic has been bad since I grew up a Genesis kid, but it's like I said before, the 21st century was really unkind to the Hedgehog, and honestly, Sonic Adventure has aged poorly. Sonic Adventure 2 sucks.
I have to say that Sonic Adventure 2 has a special place in my heart. I actually like Sonic.
Of course it does.
But it's like the best Sonic game lately has been by someone who's not technically Sega. Sonic Mania is the best Sonic game in 20 years.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much universally agreed upon, it seems like. And ironically, it's one that was, designed exactly like the original 3. So it's like...
Mark, you do prove something that I've said about Sonic Adventure 2. It's either you're a huge fan and you're always going to love it, or you're someone who just can't freaking stand it.
But why did you like it, Mark? Why did you like it, Mark?
I do like to.
Why?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the Chow Garden. I'm not gonna lie. That Chow Garden.
Okay, yeah.
Clarify. What is that? I haven't played Sonic Adventure 2. So.
Okay, so there's this whole other aspect of Sonic Adventure 2 that has nothing to do with Sonic, really, or like typical Sonic style gameplay. It's like this RPG garden where it's almost like Nintendogs, but with little creatures, and you breed them and you do all this shit. Yeah, it has little to do with the core gameplay, but also if you speedrun Sonic Adventure 2, the game's actually pretty fun because it's busted as hell. So,
and the Chows do look like Peeps from Easter.
Chows they're adorable little guys. So
interesting.
It's like if you like Stardew Valley and you like what's the other one, Harvest Moon. It's kind of like that.
So
Sonic creature.
What you're saying is Sonic Adventure 2 was way ahead of its time.
I believe so. Chows are pretty cool, though, I have to say.
Okay.
I wonder what they taste like.
I would assume cotton candy would be my
guess. That makes sense. Or marshmallow.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Team Sonic Racing that's coming out this month?
No, but the Sonic and something All-Stars that they had on Wii U is actually a lot of fun, surprisingly.
Yeah, the Sonic karting games are really, really good, but for some reason the new one, with the old ones they had like guest characters, but with the new one it's all Sonic characters. And one of the drivers is like a little team of those Chow things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there's like 3 of them in a car, like all managing the steering wheel and the accelerator and that.
Nice.
I haven't seen that.
It's like the joke about little kids stacking on each other, wearing a big coat so they can get into the movie theater.
Yeah.
I've never played a Sonic racing game. I don't know.
Oh, they're really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, they really are.
Okay, interesting.
Strangely, but they're actually fun.
Well, moving on from Sonic, what other examples do we have? Anyone else have any ideas for a bad franchise that was once good?
Well, I can go with one.
Go for it.
So this one's a little lengthy, but I'll try and keep it short. So for me, it's the Elder Scrolls games.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah. This might be a little bit divisive, but
you're saying that Arena was a good game? I don't know, man.
No. Like, so to be honest, I didn't actually come into the Elder Scrolls games until Oblivion. But yeah, so I was pretty late to the game, but I did go back and play a bit of like Morrowind and things like that. But so I actually really like Skyrim. Skyrim's probably up there in like my top 10 favorite games. And I mean, I've literally bought it on everything. So I've got it on like PC, PS4, Switch.
You're like Tony.
Yep.
Yeah, like I've got every version. I've got the VR version. But the problem is like that's kind of the problem with it, and why I think it's a good example for this, in that it's a retro thing that's kind of gone a bit wayside. Is they've not done anything new for so long. They've just kept re-releasing Skyrim, and even though I think it was E3 last year, they did announce Elder Scrolls 6 is being worked on. They also said that it's using the same engine as Skyrim, which is the same engine that Oblivion used. So it's like they're still working on an engine that's from like 2006, and they're trying to, bring out a new kind of open world RPG. And I don't think that that's going to compete with what some of the other companies are doing. If you look at like some of the games we've had in kind of the past year or
Witcher
so.
3, like Witcher 3.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Like
That
Witcher 3 or like
ruined open world games for me. That game ruined open world games for me.
that's what I mean. There's so many companies doing better jobs. I mean, even things like God of War wasn't massively open world, but when you look at the production levels of that game and you compare it to say something like Skyrim, I know they released a large amount apart, but if they're building the new game on the Skyrim engine, how is it going to compete with things, like that, or like Red Dead 2, or all these other companies?
God, Red Dead 2 was so good.
Better.
Well,
Exactly.
you could compare it to like going into, I don't know, Home Depot or something, or someplace, and you see them running an emulator with an old monochrome screen with probably an 80s inventory system that they're still using to this day. It's just they don't want to upgrade. And I think in Bethesda's case, probably just probably the same thing. They're just lazy.
I'm pretty sure that one of the reasons they gave is they said that all of their team know how to use that game engine. So, they're more familiar with it. Obviously, they've been using it for over a decade. But it seems odd that they would kind of be afraid, or not afraid, but like not willing to, say, teach people Unreal 4 or...
That's exactly like if you go into an office and everybody's still running freaking
Windows 98.
Yeah, Windows 98
Right.
or Windows XP because
XP.
they're not familiar with Windows 10 or Windows 8 or whatever, and they don't want to upgrade. That's the same argument.
It is the same
Yeah.
thing.
That is so silly. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that they were going to use the same.
That was first me, but I mean,
Yeah,
Sorren
same
makes a
here.
great point. So I mean, like that the series is still good, but it's just stagnant. I mean, when you think about it now, they've almost released as many different versions of Skyrim between the original, the special, the VR, and that as they have other mainline Arena Scrolls, bloody hell, Elder Scrolls games.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of sad that they're stuck in that.
Yeah.
Hell, they own it, don't they? Why can't they use id
yeah.
Tech 4?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I
You know
mean,
what's
you
sad
mentioned...
is,
Oh, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, you know what's sad when Japanese developers, who are the most stubborn, backwards
Oh, yeah.
people when it comes to these types of things, are finally moving on to Unreal and stuff, and yet Bethesda can't figure it out. That's kind of sad.
And I mean, you can still do things with older tech that's incredible, but I just don't see the reasoning behind it. If they make another engine from the ground up like they did for all the Elder Scrolls games, they're going to be the most familiar with it because they made the stupid thing.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens between now and 2030 when it comes out.
Yeah. It does seem stupid. I feel like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because
Absolutely.
I've got no doubt whatsoever that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to look amazing. Like graphically, I'm sure it's going to look phenomenal.
But it might play stiff and kind of dated like Skyrim does.
Exactly. You look at like character animations and things like that on Skyrim, and they're kind of...
doesn't Fallout 4 use the same engine too?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Because the mod tools work on both, so it makes sense it would be the same engine.
Yeah. So it seems bizarre that they would stick with that. And to be honest, like we were talking earlier about Breath of the Wild, you compare it to, say, something like that. It's not just even if they move to a newer game engine, it feels like they've kind of lost the art of being able to create an open world game, because you look at something like Breath of the Wild, and like Zack said, you see a volcano in the distance. If you go and investigate that volcano, you will find something. It will reward you for exploring. Elder Scrolls games, you look at a volcano in the distance and you can walk up to it, and there will be nothing up it. There could be anything there. Like, you can go up it, you can go to it and climb it, but there won't be anything there. Like, they build their worlds very much, like, here's a city, and then here's a side quest, and here's a side quest. Like, they don't put all those, like in Breath of the Wild, those nice little touches of, here's a sword that you wouldn't have found if you hadn't have just decided to randomly go over there.
Breath of the Wild, since you brought it up, I feel like before Breath of the Wild, I feel like Skyward Sword, which was the Zelda game before Breath of the Wild, was what Skyrim is to Elder Scrolls, where it was just they had been using, I don't know if it was the same engine per se as they used for Twilight Princess or Wind Waker or the games before, but it felt like the formula was getting extremely stale by that point, and so that's why what makes Breath of the Wild so amazing is that they not only updated the formula, but they created this amazing open world game that's just incredibly dynamic. Like you said, Elder Scrolls feels kind of stiff in comparison. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, you can do anything, go anywhere. It still baffles me that you're able to get on top of a mountain, look over the horizon, see something really, really far away, and be like, all right, I'm going to go there. And then you can go. And more than likely, you'll find something there, And that's just, that's good game design. And it's cool. It's good that Nintendo, I'm assuming they built that engine from the ground up, right? As
far as I know, they did.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild, I think that's its own engine, which is even more remarkable,
So there's your good example.
Yeah, there's a good example, which is what I was going to use anyway. It's a good time to transition, I guess, into good examples of modern.
I got a bad one though. I can't let go of.
All right, well, before we move on to good, let's hear your bad one.
Okay, it's so bad it's not even one game series. It's like a whole net of game series, and that's Capcom fighting games. They have gone they've gone downhill hard in the past few years, and it's not just one. It's like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the new Marvel games. It's looking bad.
That's the only weird thing. I still enjoy the Marvel vs. Capcom games, but I'm not a big, deep into fighter, so it's just like me and my brother are playing for hours at a time, but they have gone downhill considerably.
3 was good, but after 3.
Explain why, Mark. What's the reason? Why have they gone downhill?
I have honestly... Who knows? Like, what is going on? Well, I don't know how you forget that much about fighting game design so quickly, but...
what mechanics, what's changed that's made them not as good? That's what
for one, a lot of people, it's almost like Infamous now, all their, weird DLC practices, and they're just cutting a lot of content out of the games, just stripping the games bare.
Like with Street Fighter V, when it was released, it didn't even have a story mode in it and everything.
Yeah, I was super excited for Street Fighter V up to it till the day it came out. I followed it so closely because I'm a Street Fighter 4 player too, and it just was the huge letdown as far as, and people, it's like when you get a Christmas present and at first you want to kind of be like, no, it's actually a good present, and you're trying to reason with yourself that it's good, but a few weeks in you're like, wait, no, this is actually awful. That's kind of how Street Fighter V was.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah, it's missing a lot of the... it's just so stripped down where it takes out all of the exciting aspects of the gameplay. I guess a good example would be, trying to think of something that's a modern game, like an RPG that you guys love to play, and all of a sudden they cut out 80% of the items, and you have one attack or 3 spells, and that's your RPG.
Okay, you're making sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, they just chopped out so much of what makes the game fun, essentially.
They streamlined so far that they cut out the important bits too.
Right, yeah.
So why do you think Capcom has gone down this road? Do you think it's because of the whole games as a service thing, where you gotta buy different parts of the game now, or microtransactions, that sort of thing, or is it just?
I think what it was is they're trying to solve something that can't be solved. To be honest, because Street Fighter 4 was a massive success. because it became more accessible than like Third Strike and stuff. Like it was easier to get into. They added features to make it easier to learn. So they thought, okay, that worked with 4. Let's just turn that up even higher with 5. But they went so far that it stripped out what made the games rewarding and fun to play, I think. This is a little bit controversial because some people still like 5, but I don't think it's that controversial.
Well, I think it was pretty unanimous that when 5 launched, it was kind of a mess. At least that's what I heard. Maybe it's been improved since then, but
Yeah. Well, and it basically opened the doors for Tekken and Guilty Gear and all the other fighting games to become successful in its wake because, like myself, for example, I stopped playing Capcom fighting games because I thought they sucked. So I started playing Guilty Gear and other and Tekken and stuff. So
Soundtrack's better.
yeah.
There you go. There's a reason.
So
Okay.
It's weird because Capcom is doing so well in their other departments with Resident Evil 2, DMC5, but for whatever reason, their fighting game division needs to figure something out here.
Yeah. Well, they're one of the last giant, Japanese giants left. Konami. I mean, Konami's around, but they're not really doing AAA games anymore.
Honestly, Mark
Pachinko
hit it
machines.
on the head earlier when he said that a lot of Japanese developers are just stubborn and set in their ways. And Capcom is still the greatest third-party developers ever existed, but they are so stubborn and set in their ways about everything that it's starting to bite them in the butt now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment. Okay. All right, well, why don't we move on to good examples then? Go ahead, Derik.
For a good example, I'm a mark for this series, but the rebirth of the XCOM games was just about flawless, and it's really gotten me back to where I love playing strategy games again. Because I didn't play them for years after Age of Kings, and I've been nothing but sucked into XCOM 1 and 2. I'm playing them somewhat again now. They're just as great.
And for comparison, for the original ones, how many were there? There was XCOM, then Terror from the Deep, then Apocalypse. Was there another one after Apocalypse? Or was Apocalypse?
XCOM, Terror from the Deep, Defender, Apocalypse.
Defender. What was Defender?
Enforcer.
Enforcer? Okay.
Maybe that's what. Where's my Steam library when I need it?
Yeah, Nate, look that up for us.
It looks like I don't see the years on these first ones, but the first one was XCOM Genesis and XCOM Alliance. Then there was XCOM Terror from the Deep in 95, XCOM Apocalypse in 97, XCOM Interceptor in 98, XCOM, just regular XCOM in 99. That's when they dropped all the prefaces.
Okay.
XCOM Enforcer 01, so on and so forth.
Okay, so there's more games than I thought there was. Okay.
A lot more I thought there were, but
and the reboot
they kind of fell off the radar.
The reboot one was 2012 then.
Yeah, that's Enemy Unknown.
Enemy Unknown, right. And that was a remake of the original, basically, except what's the difference, Derik? I haven't played the new one, but I played the hell out of the original.
Like you said, it kind of is like I want to say like a reimagining of the original XCOM with just more stuff to do since there's more technology now that we can do stuff. So instead of just, having somewhat in the base to run, there's more to everything about research. Even the fighting, the actual combat has been changed a lot.
Streamlined a bit, right?
Yeah, somewhat. But like smart streamlining, so it's not cutting too far. It's like when you cut a fingernail, you cut down to the cuticle or the quick. They're still leaving some on there. Every XCOM player I know of is thinking of this, though. When you see 85% chance to hit and you still friggin' miss.
Yeah, I know all about that. Even the original one, and even in the original game, you had to equip all your team every single time you went down to a battle. I'm assuming they fixed issues like that.
You can set them in the barracks to have whatever equipment you need them to at the time.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's like a streamlined, improved version of the original games. Okay.
Are you guys aware of the Nintendo Mario XCOM game?
Oh yeah, Mario and Rabbids.
That game was great.
So
good.
good.
God, that game was great. So much fun.
That was so weird to me. Like when I first discovered that, and I looked at the type of game it was, and I was like, "Sorry, it's Mario XCOM." What?
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
that I would have put together, but it works.
Yeah,
I
it
was
works
hoping
really
for
well.
a tactical Mario RPG at some point, but that surprised me that they went with that.
Mm.
I mean, it's a pared down experience, but it's still so much fun, and it shouldn't work.
It is so good. I loved that game.
I haven't
God, now I
played-
want to see like an actual Mario XCOM.
Yeah, I haven't actually haven't played that one, but I've heard a lot about it.
Oh yeah, definitely try to pick it up.
Definitely.
If you like XCOM and those kinds of games, you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I've talked about Breath of the Wild enough. That was going to be the game I talked about, of course. But Sorren, what do you got?
So to give you a little bit of background here, I am playing, like, I'm big on my Switch at the minute, and I've been a Nintendo fan pretty much my whole life.
Most of us here are.
Yeah. So, but I like everything. Like, I've been a Sony fan as well, and I've been an Xbox fan and PC gaming and everything. But at the minute, I'm pretty high on my Switch. So, for me, best example of a retro franchise that's still going is Mario.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be, knocked off of that number one spot for me. I was going to give a special mention to Zelda because I do think that what they've been doing with that series is really good. I mean, I know some people didn't like Wind Waker when that came out because it was such a change of style and everything, but I've liked every game that I've played of theirs, and I think it's really good. The reason for me that Mario just pips it, though, is that even with Mario, each new game is awesome, but they also manage to keep you really interested in the retro as well. So you look at things like Super Mario Maker, that has just like massively injected like enthusiasm into everyone to play Mario, but like original Mario and all the old Marios. So, people get excited about playing that as well as playing the new ones like Odyssey and things like that. So for me, yeah, Mario, I don't think there is a Mario game I've played that I haven't liked.
Yeah, I think
That's
you're
a
right.
really good point.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Although I wasn't a huge fan of Odyssey, I just bounced off it really hard. But every Mario game before that, it was the same for me. I just think maybe I'm in the minority with this, but the Galaxy games on the Wii are my favorite, maybe my favorite Mario games of all time.
Oh, you're definitely not in the minority. I've heard that.
Okay, I'm glad because, man, especially the second one, just the spherical worlds and running upside down. I think it made some people sick, which is probably, I've heard complaints, but like my wife couldn't watch me play because she's like, "Oh, I can't watch this. This is making me sick," But yeah, they just felt unique in that way. Maybe there had been another game that had done that beforehand. Maybe was it what the heck is that series? Jack and Dexter or something?
Jack and Daxter?
Little Big
Yeah.
Planet, right? Didn't they have something like that in Little Big Planet?
No, I don't think.
No?
I don't know. I think the Dexter, Jack and Dexter, or whatever. I think had something similar to that before them, but I think that was it, man. Otherwise, Nintendo really did something unique with the Galaxy games, and to me, those were perfection. Like I think that's why Odyssey was kind of a letdown for me because I felt like it digressed a little bit back to more of the Mario 64 type of stages, and I don't know. I didn't want that, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure Odyssey's a great game, and a lot of people like it. But yeah, Mario's a great example.
Here's probably a minority take, but I'm a big fan of Mario 64. It's my favorite 3D Mario game, but I played Odyssey and I liked it, but it was a little boring for me, to be honest. But maybe that's because, I play Mario 64 and that game's so wild and what you can do and stuff. But that was my thought anyway on Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey. I think it's kind of divisive, honestly, because some people, I think people either love it or they're like, I was kind of bored. That seems to be maybe that's everything nowadays. I don't know, but it didn't seem as well received as or unanimously loved as some previous Mario games. But I don't know. I'm sure I just didn't get far enough to give it a chance. Who here is anyone else here played through Odyssey completely?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked
I've
it.
beaten it too.
It wasn't like it wasn't like my favorite game, but I'm not a big 3D Mario guy anyway. 3D Mario game guy. I think I liked 3D World better. And I've never played the Galaxy game. I've never put any considerable time into the Galaxy game. So, no, I'm all about 2D Mario. I'm not a big 3D Mario guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think honestly, like the settings were what I like. Like it was just so cool to explore the different levels. But it was the difference between a really good game and a great game. Is Mario Odyssey is a really good game, but it's not a highlight of the series. I mean, there is absolutely nothing I can say bad about it besides it's not as good as some of the bigger names. And I'm with Tony. I haven't played much of the Galaxy series because I freaking hate waggle controls.
Yeah. That is one reason maybe not to play them. But it's I mean the motion stuff isn't too bad in that, honestly, compared to some of the other like in Twilight Princess. I remember you had to go like this, same with Skyward Sword, man. The whole game you're going like this, the whole time fighting, which was cool for a while, but your freaking arm gets tired, But Galaxy was kind of minimal. I think there was a couple annoying motion games you had to do, but for the most part, it was just amazing games. I love them so much.
I want them to put like the 2-pack on Switch so bad.
Yes, I would buy it and play them again.
I was literally about to say that. Like, I think a few people have mentioned this online as like a kind of more of like a pipe dream. But given that they are porting so much of their old stuff on Switch, it would make sense to do Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, especially when you've already got all of the motion controls with the Joy-Cons and everything. Like, I can't see that it would be too difficult to do.
Yeah, I really wish they would do that, because I would. I don't have a Wii anymore, and I don't even know if I might have kept the games, actually, because I like the game so much. But I got my Wii is long gone. But yeah, I would love that. I would buy that in a heartbeat. So, Nintendo,
I would love to see like a Super Mario All-Stars 2 of all the 3D Marios re-released for Switch. I'd buy that day one.
That's a great idea.
Yes, buy it.
That's a great idea. They can include them all. They could do 64, Sunshine, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Twilight Princess, see?
What about Twilight Princess?
You just named it off of the Mario game.
Did I? Oh my God. Okay, must be getting.
Zelda.
Yeah. Sorry.
I thought it was a little bit of Inception there. He's like incepting.
I'm getting my Nintendo franchise screwed up in my head.
I've got one. I've got an example.
Go for it.
So this is a series that I had not played until really this last year, and that would be Doom.
Oh yeah.
So I had some passing knowledge of Doom, like the original games, for PC and all that. But then I got the new one on Switch. And, obviously it had been out for a couple of years at this point by the time it came out on Switch, but I hadn't played it yet. So I got it on Switch. I started playing it. I had some issues with some motion sickness. So I went back and played like Doom 1 and 2 and a little bit of Final Doom. And holy crap, those games are so good. Like I didn't really know if I felt like I'd been missing out for years. And, it was really cool to experience those for the first time. But then I went ahead and got through the motion sickness stuff and played the new, the latest Doom. And holy crap, that was one of the coolest video game experiences I've had, like ever. Like it is such a cool game.
It's amazing, yeah.
And I'm like so hyped for the next one now. But yeah, I mean Doom. I haven't played Doom 3, and I've heard some bad things about it. I've also heard good things about it. So, I mean, it feels like, for the most part, their series has been, that series has been good consistently.
Yeah,
so.
Doom 3 is another divisive game. I'm someone who defends it. I played it back in the day, and it's basically a survival horror game, more so than even a balls action. It's definitely the slowest Doom game. And they make it so where instead of putting a light on your gun, you have to hold the light or hold your gun, but not both at the same time. But they did that for tension reasons, I think, so that you couldn't, you had to, go around in the dark and look for things and then out. I liked it though. I thought it's by far the scariest, especially when you go to hell, man, and you're listening to these audio logs of these soldiers and people that were stuck down there. It was creepy, man. Like I was in college, or maybe it was just after college when that game came out, and me and my brother for a while lived in my parents' garage after college, and I remember going to sleep on the couch or something and listening and hearing my brother playing Doom 3 and hearing all these crazy sounds and listening to the audio logs, as I was half asleep. And I was like, I woke up like in a nightmare, dude. It was terrifying just listening to it, I think it's worth a playthrough. It's pretty cool, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is it's like this like deconstruction of the classic Doom tropes, which just kind of felt out of place with the series. It's still a pretty fun game, honestly. And the survival horror elements are pretty awesome, but man, Doom 2016 is just balls to the wall power fantasy, and it's great. Like someone on the internet described, in Dark Souls, you're locked in a room with demons. In Doom, the demons are in a room with you.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, Doom 2016, definitely one of my favorite games in the last decade, I would say. It's what every update of a classic game should be. It's very much like the original 2 Doom games, but just updated. And then the what do they call them? The glory kills or whatever.
Oh, they're so fun.
Dude, man, just doing like a bunch of those in a row or so, is so satisfying, Oh, it's like,
what I thought when I first played Doom 2016 is, because I'm a big fan of it too, is wow, someone did their research and played some Ninja Gaiden too, because there's a lot of similarities between the mechanics. Other than in Ninja Gaiden, you have a sword, and in Doom, you have guns.
This is the rebooted Ninja Gaiden, right? The newer one.
Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360. Yeah.
Okay, 360.
Which is my favorite modern game, by the way. Yeah, because that has the decapitation system. It has like a lot of the combat systems that you see in Doom 2016. So I think it was like a interesting concept that they kind of took a 3D action game like that, those elements, and then put them in a first-person shooter, essentially.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Huh, okay.
If you really want to see the genesis of Doom 2016, and I just want to mention this for anyone who wants to play the original Doom games, the Doom 1 and 2 mod, Brutal Doom, is pretty much that, and I cannot recommend that enough. That's, to me, the best way to play the original Doom games.
Yeah,
I mean, Mark made a good point. I never thought about the connection there, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, like even when you kill enemies in Ninja Gaiden 2 with special finishers, which are basically like glory kills, you get Nimpo, which is the same. And you kind of get Nimpo in Doom, but it's those, can't remember, like the points or whatever, so you heal and stuff like that. Or you get ammo. It's like pretty interesting, the parallels between the two.
I might have to play that.
Plus, they're both super gory and and like violent.
Yeah.
I haven't played any of the new Ninja Gaiden games. I might have to do that. I'm a big fan of the old ones, but never played the new ones.
That was going to be my pick, but I don't know if it counts because it's been a while since a new one's come out, so is it still going or not? I'm sure they'll make another one, but it's kind of in hibernation right now.
The Ninja Gaiden series?
The reboot, yeah.
What was the last one they did? Was it Ninja Gaiden 2 on 360, or has there been one since then?
I thought there was a third one, wasn't there?
There was a third one. So Ninja Gaiden 3 was a piece of shit, but then they went back. Team Ninja got like remorse and went back and redid it and called the Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which is improved. It's pretty good, but it's not as good as the other ones, but still. I mean, at least they didn't end off on 3. They kind of went like, well, okay, wait a minute. We didn't mean that here. It'd be like if they did Street Fighter 5 and they removed all this stuff from Street Fighter 5, and then they're like, wait, no, we're going to put it all back in. And so that's kind of what they did with the Razor's Edge.
Yeah, I think Ninja Gaiden's a good example of for the most part, of a series that evolved and adapted to 3D very well. I mean, I remember when it came out on Xbox originally, the original Xbox, I played that one a lot, the original one. And the game was amazing, dude. I mean,
really good.
It was nuts, And I didn't play the second one, but yeah, that's a good example, I think. Definitely a good example of a series that has survived, I think. We'll see what happens next if they bring it out of the coffin.
I think they will. With all the popularity of Dark Souls and stuff.
Yeah.
Because now gamers are starting to kind of make the connection. They're like, wait a minute. Ninja Gaiden is a lot like Dark Souls. They have a lot in common. So I think Team Ninja will be more primed to release a fourth one here soon.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Anyone else have anything to add?
I have a series that's probably controversial among some nerds, which is Fire Emblem. I'm a big Fire Emblem fan.
No, those are great games.
Yeah. And some people don't like what Awakening did with the series. It kind of streamlined it and added some sexy elements to it. And so some people don't like that, but I think they're still really solid games, gameplay-wise, and I liked Conquest a lot. So I'm looking forward to the new one coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the core gameplay of Awakening was still really fun. Just the Hesher stuff was just...
Yeah.
So
but I'm not a good representative of the Fire Emblem fans because I'm more about tactical gameplay than story. So I'm
I hear you.
I'm mashing through the cutscenes a lot of times, so I only have a vague idea what's going on story-wise.
For those of us who've never played a Fire Emblem game, meaning me and maybe Tony, and I don't know about Sorren, but they're traditional JRPGs, right? They're that type of game. What type of game are they?
They're tactical RPGs.
Tactical RPGs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Final Fantasy Tactics or something along those lines.
That's a pretty good analogy.
I think they're a little bit more.
But yeah, they're more strategic than tactics, and I'm a huge fan of tactics.
So then something like Front Mission or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good one.
Did you ever play Advanced Wars on the DS or GBA?
Yeah, so it's similar to that.
They're like that's the same dev, and so they have very close similarities gameplay wise.
Okay.
Z, you're a Genesis collector. Have you ever played the game War Song?
War Song.
It's a rare Genesis game, but if you play that one, it's pretty close to a Fire Emblem game.
How close are they to like the Shining Force games?
I don't think they're too close to Shining Force.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never played a Fire Emblem game.
I haven't either. See that just because I didn't even know. I thought they were like a traditional JRPG, but apparently they're tactics based. I didn't even know that.
No, because if it was a traditional JRPG, I wouldn't be playing them anymore.
Yeah, that's funny. You're probably right.
One of the first tactical RPG series as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long
Fire
It started back in Famicom.
Yeah, Fire Emblem's old as shit. It came out on the Famicom, yeah.
Have they always Nintendo owns it right now, or did they?
It's second party. Intelligent Systems makes Fire Emblem.
Okay.
But Nintendo, it's kind of like HAL Laboratories, where Nintendo basically owns HAL Laboratories.
Or Platinum Games, that sort of thing. The company.
I think Platinum's a little more independent because they've worked with Sony and stuff on Nier and.
Yeah, kind of like HAL with Kirby, and then with Game Freak.
Sony, their second party, I'd say would be Naughty Dog.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, it's a good example. Yeah. Okay.
And for Microsoft,
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing currently, I guess. Except, they don't even.
Rare.
Rare,
Oh,
yeah.
shit, good call.
Rare's a good call.
They just straight up own Rare, though, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they bought Rare. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Nintendo owns Intelligent Systems. Maybe they do. I have no idea.
I think they at least own the IP for Fire Emblem, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. Well,
Intelligent Systems is closely affiliated with Nintendo, but not owned. It doesn't look
There
like.
you go.
so like
You're the man, Nate.
so kind of a second party deal. Then they developed for Nintendo, but okay, cool. And I guess on that note, we can wrap it up. We got a pretty good discussion there. All right. Well, on behalf of everyone here, Sorren Day, Tony Brasel, Derik Moore, Mark, Nate, and I'm Zack, and we'll be signing off our episode 1 of GameFellas. We will see you next time. Later.
I can't leave
Yeah.
until the recording's over.
I was gonna say, it looks like you're in like a fucking bomb shelter, man. Like,
I am in a bomb shelter.
Holy shit, bro! Like,
I am.
you look like one of the guys in Fallout who's like recording with like.
You notice I'm leaning up
trying to pick up
against
transmissions and shit. Like,
I can't move my camera because I don't want to mess it up, but if you notice, I'm leaning up against the giant CRT here.
It is a giant CRT TV.
That's what my back's up against.
Nice.